today I am taking you all to my parents' house to do a special project that I've been wanting to do for quite some time now. Hey there, my name is Yami. I am your Latina next door. Welcome back to Mi Casa. If you recall, when we sold our previous home, we had nowhere to move to, so we ended up staying at my parents' house for several months until we prepared the property in order for us to stay up here while we build our forever home. Now, while we stayed there, I was able to transform two of my parents' spaces. One of them was the bathroom that I used while I was in high school, and the other was the family room where we all get together, watch TV, and get to hang out as a family. Now, one of the areas that I've always wanted to tackle was my parents' back patio. It has always been pretty bare, and it's been like that since my parents bought the home. I graduated high school, graduated college, got married, and moved on. It hasn't changed much. And honestly, it doesn't get a lot of usage because there is just no protection. They don't have any break from the sun. So when I got the opportunity to work with Domi Outdoor Living again, I was so excited because I knew I could do something very special for my parents. This video is in collaboration with Domi Outdoor Living. If you recall last year, we added a gazebo behind our little cottage on our farm, and that is also from Domi Outdoor Living. I will be sharing a little bit more about them later on in the video. Let's get started. All right, so today is day one of building the gazebo in my parents' backyard. Yesterday we had torrential rain. Everything got wet. All the boxes got wet back here. And today we are having a crazy heat wave. Super sunny, super hot, and super muggy. I'll bet you anything that my hair is going to be twice as big by the time we're done with this video. So right now Nelson and my dad are setting up a temporary little tent so that we have a place of respite and even a place to build a few things under the shade, because as you guys know, there is no shade back here in my parents' backyard, hence why we're building the gazebo. So we're getting this stuff set up. We're going to start unpacking absolutely everything that we've got, and we're going to start putting all the pieces together. Now, Domi Outdoor Living is an online retailer that offers so many options for your outdoor living spaces, from gazebos to pergolas, patio umbrellas, and even outdoor furniture. They offer a variety of styles and sizes in order to suit your needs, and they're always adding new products to their website. I will have a link to their website in my description box below, as well as a special discount code that you can use at checkout. Now we got started unpacking and unwrapping everything right away. We got the wall-mounted hardtop gazebo with drainage gutters this time, and it worked perfectly with my parents' house design and where they wanted to place it in their backyard. They had this huge pavement patio poured a while ago, actually pretty early on when we moved in, and it just needed something to cover the area up so they can use it even more. Now, Adobe Outdoor Living's instructions for these gazebos are actually very easy to follow. Nelson and I did ours ourselves the first time, and this time we had the help of my dad. He was there with us the entire time, and it was even easier because I was following the directions and making sure they knew what they were doing and providing them with all the screws and washers and nuts and bolts that they needed while they did the work. Of course, I supervised. And it was very easy to put together. Now, for these gazebos, you start with the exterior posts that are going to be holding up the entire structure. As you can see, my dad here is holding the post while Nelson is attaching the different pieces that will later kind of go together and attach the rest of the pieces. Now, one of the things that really helped us putting these pieces together was actually putting them on top of like two chairs, as you see here. We wanted to make sure we didn't scratch or damage the metal pieces, and putting this up here kind of elevated it for us and prevented any damage. So that was something that, we thought of, and it worked out perfectly. And the best part about doing this project was honestly the fact that we got to spend a long weekend at my parents' house and were able to get this done. And it was nice just hanging out with them and working together. Of course, all my kids were hanging out with my mom, and she got to spend time with them while my dad, Nelson, and I got to work on this really fun project for them. So, what I particularly like about this gazebo design is that one side is higher than the other. Naturally, the higher side goes up against the house so that if any rain falls from like the roof line, the gutters, or anything like that, it will naturally fall away from the structure and protect the surrounding areas. This gazebo is also reinforced in several areas, as you can see here by these diagonal brackets, and they really do add a lot of stability to the structure as well. Of course, my mom would come outside and check on us every once in a while and even bring us snacks because we were out there working for the majority of the day. Of course, on this particular day, we had to cut things short. There was this really dark cloud hanging over us, and we were trying to work as fast as possible to get this structure completed before it came over. But unfortunately, Mother Nature won, and we kind of had to stop working a little early on this day. Now we got very lucky and it was a quick summer storm. So it passed through and we were able to come back out and work a little bit more. And we started working on the side panels of the gazebo. And I really like these actually because they're not solid, they're more like a plexiglass and they have protection of the sun because they're a nice tinted brown, as you can see here, but they still allow for sun to shine through and just give the space a little bit more light when you're underneath it. Now, at this point, we stopped right here and we got my mom out because she still hadn't decided whether or not she wanted it on the right side of the house or if she wanted the gazebo placed a little bit more on the center of the house to also kind of capture the doorway as well. So we moved it over. And as you can see, my dad there with his arms crossed, he's kind of waiting for my mom to make the decision. But we literally moved it back and forth several times until she finally decided to go ahead and put it in the center. And that way the door would be protected. And she just thought it was a little bit more symmetrical. So we were happy that, she was happy with the final placement. So now that we knew exactly where she wanted the gazebo, my dad and Nelson marked down the areas on the grass where the posts would go. And this was because we needed to add cement so that we can anchor them down. As you can see, when everything is said and done, the posts actually come out a little bit further than my dad's original patio size, but adding these was super easy and honestly gives us peace of mind knowing that the structure is going to be bolted to the ground and secure. Now, I actually had to run out and get a few things from our local hardware store before they could pour the cement. So, my dad and my husband decided to go ahead and start installing some of the panels on the gazebo while they waited for me to return. The following morning, we were back out there and it was time to add the cement. So once these were poured, we began to work back on the roof of the gazebo. So once they were done with the gazebo, it was my turn to get to work. See, the back door of my mom's house was looking pretty sad, unfortunately, because the sun hits that back door directly in the afternoons. The frame was already chipping, and of course, this whole area had seen better days. So I went ahead and made sure to pick up some paint when I was at the hardware store previously, and I got them a new paint color for their door, and I made sure I had everything I needed in order to do the repairs on this. And as you can see here, I was starting out by first using a paint spatula and just chipping everything that was loose away from the frame. And then after that, I took a sander and I began sanding everything nice and smooth. Of course, I wasn't able to get all the paint off, and it wasn't necessary either. So this definitely helped to have on hand, and I was able to get that door frame nice and even and smooth and just prepped for some brand new paint. I made sure to wipe everything down, making sure that there was no dust anywhere. And then came the fun part. And honestly, it's been such a while that I've painted something. It was actually kind of nice to get to do a little DIY project like this. So I kept the same color for the frame. I left it white since the trim around all of the windows in the entire house is white. But for the back door, I decided to give it a whole new color, and I just picked this beautiful shade of green that I'll show you guys in just a second. But I figured since it's the only door to the back, it wasn't clashing with anything else, and I can give it something a little bit special so that it looks nice and cozy and unique and just fun for them. Once that was done with the frame, I began on the door, and this is the beautiful color that I chose. It was actually nice having the gazebo up right there to give me a little bit of shade because it was so hot. I felt like the paint was drying as soon as I was brushing it on. But it was so satisfying getting this door painted a nice coat of green and just seeing it all get freshened up. Now, I did the first coat on the door the evening before, and I let it dry overnight. And now this is the following morning, and I am applying the second coat. And as you can see here, I'm using a small artist brush in order to get all of those hard to reach spots for that detail work. Now, this is probably the most accurate representation of what the color of the door looks like. Sometimes you just can't capture the real hue on camera, but this is the closest, and I absolutely love this color, and so did my parents. So I did good because I totally just picked this color out by myself. And I am just applying the second coat here just to make sure that this back door is nice and well protected. Now, once I was done painting the door, Nelson began to secure the gazebo down onto the pavement. And he did it to the existing pavement as well as the new cement anchors that he poured the night before. It had a little bit of a chance to cure. And then, of course, onto the back of the house. That way, everything is nice and secure and it does not budge. And then finally, it was time to install the mosquito netting as well as the privacy curtains for the gazebo. My mom came out and watched how I put everything together. That way she also knew how to put the curtains up as well as extend them. Now, my parents didn't have much outdoor furniture because obviously they didn't spend much time out here, but they did have this cute little love seat that Nelson and I had given them before we moved out from our last house. So I decided to pull it out and place it underneath the gazebo as well as with some cushions that I had found for them that went with the new door color really nicely. And here is how everything turned out. Of course, I had to share a picture of my dad getting ready to fire up the grill. He was probably the most excited for this space, and I can't wait for him to enjoy it for many years to come. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what you liked most about it. I am so happy that my parents get an outdoor place to enjoy now. My dad enjoys it almost every day. And it is still warm out in Georgia, so they'll get a lot of usage out of this in the weeks to come, well into the fall weather. Thank you so much to Domi Outdoor Living for partnering with me again on this very fun video. And thank you all so much for being here because without you, I wouldn't get opportunities like this. I will leave the link to the gazebo and Domi's website in my description box below. And I will see you here back very soon with another video. Until then, adios.